welcome to my Highfleet Hardmode stock ships only Iron Man stream. In this stream, we're going to be trying to beat Highfleet uh, using only stock ship configurations on hard mode, while also kind of just rolling with whatever happens in the campaign. This is my first time streaming something in a while, so this first stream is going to be kind of a bit of a technical, uh, like let's make sure everything's working and let's make sure I can get everything hosted where I need it to get hosted. Uh, so I do apologize if there's any sort of issues. For that reason, we are going to be playing through the prologue. So um, if you are an experienced Highfleet player, you probably don't want to watch somebody play through the prologue again, but I do want to just make sure that I can do a single stream and get it published and pushed to YouTube, because I haven't done this in 2 or 3 years. So with that started, let's get into it here. I am gonna just stop, because if you've never seen Highfleet before, if you're one of the people who knows me for something else, or you're somebody I've invited to watch this, um, you know, I would like to make sure that we do the prologue once, just so the story's there. And actually, I think what we'll do is we'll restart Tango here, because this is the file I have with the most bonus on it. So. And I'm not a big believer in narrating. I think you guys can read, so I'll kind of pause when there's text on the screen to give you a chance to sit with it for a second, but I'm not gonna to sit here and read it for you. So. Hey, General Piotr, how's it going, buddy? The city of Eli is on the horizon, and we are going to pull in and land. So this first part is just a prologue. I've played through it quite a few times. It's going to talk us through the basic mechanics of the game. If you've never seen this before, it'll be kind of an introduction to you. We have a fleet here that is moving towards a city. This is a top-down map. So this dot here is our fleet. Eli is the city. We have 4 ships, 3 Navarins, and a Wanderer. And anytime we land in a city, we can go into the city here, and we'll just put down one of the ships. We're gonna have to click through some of these tutorial screens. And I really hope the sound mixing is good. I did test this last night to make sure that the gameplay volume wasn't too loud. But I am going to try to turn it down just a little bit more, I think, just in case. So we'll turn down the volume of the game a little bit more. This is Fazil. He is the prince of the deposed rulers of this province. So we're going to greet him. We're going to clarify, hey, buddy, I'm not a Tarkin. I'm royalty just like you. And we want to acknowledge that, as our vassals, the Elaims fighting under Fazil's crown have been earnestly fighting to keep their country free, even if they haven't been very successful. And then, yeah, I mean, then you guys are going to go back to working for my dad. We're going to engage in a little bit of light treason here. Okay, so the first thing we do when we come into town is we want to gas up our ships. There's no 57. Oh, we can get some incendiary rounds too. And we'll do a little bit of the lore here, just if you're watching this for the first time. This guy is General Pyotr Shahin. He is kind of my advisor and second in command. So you're saying the Dowd is just trying to get rid of me? I am going to read my own lines. So yes. Okay, so now we just have to wait for... yeah, Peter, what do you think of this entire expedition? And I didn't ask you about man. I asked you about the entire campaign. And yet, your background is as an infantry general, dude. You're not a fleet officer, so what are you doing here? And you're here because you're my father's spy, aren't you? And he likes that I'm clever enough to see that. But I'm not clever enough to see that. I've just played this game like 25 times, so I know the plot. So mechanically here, we can see that we have this blue circle, which is just around the fleet, and that's going to take us up to just outside of Shimri. In a campaign, normally I wouldn't actually let there be this little wiggle room, but here we can see we'll have 6 hours of flight time to Shimri. We're fully fueled, so I'll just unpause time, and I'm going to hold down shift so we can just go right in. And we can see that there's an enemy garrison here. They're going to spot us as we come in. They're raising the alarm right now. And we're just going to go in and fight these guys. It's going to be my corvettes versus their much crappier corvettes. And in Highfleet, you can only command one of your ships at a time, but the enemy can have up to 3 ships. These Courageouses are like on easy AI mode because this is the first battle of the Prologue, so they're not even really shooting back. But an important mechanic is that I can kind of retire a ship to bring out the next ship in line. And yeah, let's see if these guys will fire at me. They just have like a crappy little Sea Whiz cannon. They don't even really have a real gun. And I am finding my gunnery to be a little lacking as well, but okay. Normally we would do salvage there, and normally you don't actually have to land in the docks at every city you go to. You would only land if you really wanted to do repairs. But the Prologue has a couple of things that are scripted, and I guess forcing you to land in the cities is one of them. So I know I seem like I'm being a little flippant with the Prologue, but I actually quite like it. I think it's an appropriate length tutorial that lets you get to grips with the game. And actually, like, I think this game has a good story. It has an interesting narrative. So I apologize if I'm robbing it of its gravitas by clicking through these screens. So here we're going to get a tutorial on how to yeah, okay, okay, sure. Thanks, Piotr. So we're gonna what? Why is it doing this? We're gonna buy out all the missiles we can because we might as well, and we're gonna stick them on all of our ships. When you're stopped in a city, you can repair or even modify your ships. So like, I could take this ammo bin off if I wanted to, but there's no other components for me to rebuild my ships with here, so we're just gonna stick these zeniths in here. And these zeniths are ship-to-ship missiles. They're pretty powerful. They will like one-shot a corvette if they hit, but they are 600 gold apiece, and like they don't replenish in between battles. You need to stop in a city and actually get them installed. So yeah, so we're up here. We're, you know, like a third or fourth son of the Emperor. We're not in the direct line of succession, and we're having a bit of a tantrum right now about the fact that we've been sent on this sort of fool's errand military campaign to the edge of the world. Um, and I guess I'm having a bit of, or my character here is having a bit of a, ooh, I'm the prince, but he doesn't treat me like one. Um, And to be fair, Admiral Dowd, who we haven't met yet, but is the commander of the squadron, is kind of an asshole to us. So we can see we're refueling. We've got 6 hours of repair. I'm just going to speed that up. And um, you can see there's a clock up here, and the screen went from being blue to being kind of dark gray. That means it's nighttime now. There's actually not a clear indicator as to whether it's day or night. You just have to know that the fact that it's dark and it's here means that it's like 10. But there is no AM or PM indicator on this screen. As we get into the campaign, I'll go through some more of what this means, but this clock up here just tells you what time of day it is. So just because I don't ever get a chance to use it, I am going to send out the Wanderer. Yep. Oh, I didn't know the Wanderer had flare launchers. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is just my tanker, and it's kind of a crappy tanker, so you don't usually take it in campaign. As you can see, those zeniths are pretty decisive. We'll definitely see a lot more zeniths once we get into the campaign. The AI takes them on almost all of the garrison ships, and one of the major challenges of the early game is having your kind of level 0 corvettes that don't have any experience on them survive having a bunch of zeniths shot at them at the same time. So I like the design of the Wanderer. It's a cool ship. If I took it in the campaign, it would definitely be with the intention of handicapping myself, but this is already going to be a pretty hard campaign. I'm expecting we're not going to get it the first time. I'm expecting we're going to have to restart because the campaign wipes. So I'm not sure I want to dogpile myself further by taking the Wanderer, but alright, so Fazl coming to compliment us. Hey, did you know there was a garrison there, man? So sometimes when we meet characters, we get a chance to recruit them. This is the kind of recruitment mini game. Part of what you want to do here is recruit the character, but also part of what you want to do here is modify your worldview. You're kind of making a speech here, and everybody in your fleet will hear the speech, and their thoughts on your leadership will be reflected based on how you choose to persuade who you're talking to. As always, we definitely want to go into faith. So even though this guy is not religious, we we want to, for the purposes of the campaign, we would care about having a high faith worldview. So this is actually really cool mechanics. This is something I like about Highfleet. I mean, I like a lot about Highfleet. I've played this game a lot, but this is, I think, one of the more interesting and unique mechanics. I haven't seen anything like this in another game. Um, we are going to make an extemporaneous speech to Imla and Harish, and down here we have options that we can click on, and these are just sort of like this is what occurs to us, right? To say. Um, you don't get to choose what these are. They're going to be randomly generated every time you play, or on every turn, and you might only get bad options. So you have to kind of assess what you know about this guy and use that to choose what is probably a smart thing to say to him. So this guy, I know he's a local. I know he's a Harishid. He used to be in the bodyguard of the King of Jurat. Um, we'll talk about the political relationships that underpin the lore here, but I'm assuming he likes Jurat, so we're going to say something positive about his homeland. And he's a very proud Alame, so that'll give us some points. Um, he was neutral to faith before, so we probably don't want to say this. Do you think he cares about peace? Maybe. Maybe not. I actually think this guy likes force. So neither of these are a good option, but I do have these gifts, which I can expend. So I know he likes the Elames. I don't know how he feels about the Empire. So, but I do know that he's a warrior, so he'll probably appreciate a ceremonial weapon. Um, and the more turns you have a good speech, the more good speech bonus you get. But I have now used up that gift. So, um, this guy, do I think he cares about money? Do I think he's a nice guy? Do I think he cares about justice? Um, I think this guy cares about money. He loves wealth. So, but you can kind of see here in the worldview, now I've expressed force, wealth, and faith, and Jurat as sentiments. And as I put more points into those levels will go up. Um, so, do I think he values justice? Um, do I think he would prefer something condescending said about? Um, let's chat. Let's see if he likes justice. He loves justice. Great. This guy's pretty solid. Imlan Harish is a cool dude. So we have full relationship with him. Um, so he's gonna join us happily. He's gonna give us his ship. He's gonna give us money, and he'll give us an ability that we'll then have to use in the campaign, which I'll show you in a second. In the tutorial, we pretty much always want to refuel. You know what? Because it's all funny money in the tutorial, I'm going to buy a bunch of special ammo that I normally wouldn't buy. You can buy special ammunition types when you're in a city. We'll probably go into these more in the campaign, but the Gladiator, the ship I just got, has 100mm cannons, so we're going to put armor-piercing rounds and proximity fuse rounds in our inventory. So, my character is very excited. He's a brash young officer who wants to prove his worth. And we are going to try to get into the fight here. I think when I bought the fuel, I didn't have the Gladiator recruited. So we'll put some Zeniths back on the Wanderer, and the Gladiator already has Zeniths. Fantastic. So I'll take the Gladiator out here just to show you what it can do. The Gladiator is a frigate. It's a much more substantial ship than the others I've had. And I guess I'll show you what proximity fuse ammo looks like. The Gladiator is armored, so we can take some hits on the chin that the Navarins couldn't. Now you see I have this blue indicator on my gun here. That means that I'm firing proximity fuse ammo rather than HE, and prox fuse does this. So rather than hitting and impacting, it will explode before hitting something. It's useful for shooting down missiles, and it's useful for hitting corvettes or other evasive targets. So Melka is a repair city, so repairs here will happen a little bit faster. We'll talk about this more once we're into the campaign. But here you can see the numbers down on the air docks at the bottom are higher. In the other cities it was like 5 or 10. Here it's, I'm landing in this dock that is 60, so this will give me a bigger bonus to my repair speed. And right now the Gladiator is by far our best ship, so we want to keep it in good shape. And we'll put the Zenith back on. And I don't think there is a replacement radio here, so that'll just remain damaged. And do we have any other cool ammo types here? Ooh, yeah, laser guided. Oh, that's 130 millimeter. I'm still gonna buy it. We're still. This is the prologue. The money doesn't matter. We're not gonna get to keep it when we get to the campaign. So let's buy all the special ammo types we can. Let's just have fun with it. Okay. This is Dowd. Admiral, good to see you. He doesn't like me because I'm a Nepo baby. And this is a guy who has to oil his own beard. But I am demonstrating military success, so he has to at least come and acknowledge me. And I think you underestimate the prince. I actually don't think he does. I think Fazl is kind of a turd, but I want to have a hot take in front of Admiral Dowd. And the prince still enjoys great authority among the local dukes. He could be useful to the crown. Dowd, I think, is probably kind of a racist guy, so I don't want to say this to him. I don't think he thinks very highly of the native people of Jurat, but I think he would be sympathetic to the idea of, yeah, we can manipulate the locals. Skobelev is Dowd's boss, and he is an off-screen character who we're not going to meet in the course of this game. And he's going to give me some extra ships, and I'm gonna be very gallant here and say, thank you, Admiral, but just the cruiser will be enough. Okay. So, we've taken on the Diana, which is a Nomad class ship. This is like a heavy cruiser. I'll show you what she looks like in here. So, she doesn't come with any cruise missiles in this version of the campaign, but she does come with some rather large cannons and also a big radar dish. So, we are going to have to... Oh, okay, she comes with gas in the tank. That's exciting. So we're going to wait for the tanks to fill, and we should get notified of a radio interrupt here in a second. I love... I love this. I love that he points. Yeah, absolutely, man. Okay. Okay. So this is a radio intercept. We will get these periodically throughout the campaign. This radio intercept does not look like a normal radio intercept because it is missing the sender. But this is 2 chrysolites expecting 12 hours going 120. In this case, this is their speed moving southeast, go on the route Kushan. And this is from, for some reason, the strike group I think doesn't have a name because it's the so we're intercepting a transmission from like a big hostile enemy fleet here, and they're telling us where they're coming from, how fast they're moving, and where they're headed. Um, Strike groups tend to be comprised of a couple of cruisers. In the campaign, they will absolutely kick our ass if we run into them when we're not ready to fight them. Um, so they're going to Kushan. So we'll take off as soon as we're ready. So what I should do is evade the enemy strike group. What I'm going to do is fight the enemy strike group, because that would be more entertaining. And I would like you guys to kind of see what it looks like when a cruiser fights a cruiser. So this might actually bug the tutorial, so we might have to just exit the prologue. But we'll head to Kushan, and you'll see that we're starting to pick up signals on this strike group, which is, we can see it's at, I'll show you how to read the ELINT thing here. This is at 30 degrees from our position, approximately, and it's at ELINT range 1, which I think is, so we're saying they're about here. And if they're at ELINT range 1, I don't remember what the exact ELINT ranges are, but I think that means that, like, we're detecting them at around, normally it would be at around 1,500 kilometers, but this might be closer. So even though we should be evading the strike group, we're just going to fight the strike group. Yeah, that's fine. He's going to show us how to make a... Sure. Okay, come on home. So here you can see we're fighting the strike group, which has an S above it. I really hope this shows up on stream. We can see there's speed 115, and there's also a garrison behind them in Kushan. So we detached this group of 2 Navarins to move towards the strike group. We're going to send them back to meet up with the fleet again, and we're just going to hit the strike group with everything we have. So normally a strike group would be firing cruise missiles or launching airplanes against me, but here it's just going to be a cruiser that's going to shoot cannon rounds at us. So I love the soundtrack in this game. So we're going to fight with the Nomad versus a single Bori. Okay. Not helpful game. I know how to play, man. Oh, that's a low shot. And yeah, the cruiser-on-cruiser warfare here, we have a bunch of 180mm cannons. We definitely outgunned Bori in the Nomad. But as you can see, the larger ships have some more systems. They have point defense, they have missiles, they have anti-missile systems, which I didn't use there, but I could have. and we're going to land in Kushan here. The garrison's going to fly out to fight us. I'll just kill these with the Gladiator. Ooh, that's an interesting ship. The Jaguar RSZO is not a ship you see spawn very often. This is a Jaguar with an MLRS system, which is super fascinating. So we're going to pop the Lightning first. Because it's definitely more evasive. And then we're going to switch to HE, and we're going to take down this MLRS system. MLRS ships are relatively easy to dodge, but they are extremely devastating if they manage to land hits on us. So we should now land in Kushan uncontested. It's gonna make me land. It's gonna make me land the ship. I'm sorry. It's gonna make me land the ship. Landing can be quite exciting in the campaign if you're in a situation where your ship is damaged and you can't safely set down because you have screwed up landing gear or you're missing engines. But here, you know, we're just landing a big heavy thing on a flat landing pad, so we're not going to sit around and repair the Nomad. I don't really care. Okay, so we're going to have to do something that's going to be a little teensy bit boring here, which is that we are going to have to, we'll repair this for like 2 hours just to shore up the escape pods. Oh, fuck. Alright, any news from the capital? So, we'll talk about the plot a little bit more once we get into the main game. Yeah, what about the Kiva reactor? Like, come on, there's not like pre-calamity technology lying around, is there? Sean's kind of wondering how we know about this. So what we're going to have to do here is head on to I hope it doesn't get bugged. I know that there can be some goofy behavior in the prologue if you do what I just did. I think the issue in I think the prologue gets bugged if you use an aircraft carrier to kill the garrison with planes. Just for fun, we can ask either Fazl for money, or we can ask Dowd for more ships. We don't actually need money from Fazl, but I am going to see what Dowd gives us for a ship. And he's going to give us a carrier, which is really fun. So I don't want to use the carrier because, like I said, I think there's actually a way that using carriers can bug the game in the prologue. So we're just going to fly to Rest assured, General, I would never put my men at risk just to save face. But we've already asked for reinforcements, and realistically, going in here with the Nomad should be more than enough to take the city. So we can see there's quite a fleet here. Another one of these Jaguar RSCOs. This is kind of an uncommon ship for the enemy to get. Same thing with this Talos. That's really interesting. I wonder why that's happening. You know what? We'll start with a Navarin, just to keep it interesting. Just to keep it interesting. We'll start with a Navarin. So, the order that I drag these around in is the order that they will reinforce in. So if I escape with the Navarin, the Nomad will then spawn in. These two ground vehicles, I should have probably mentioned, these are like anti-aircraft ground vehicles that will shoot missiles up, um, but you don't need to kill them. And I actually don't know if you can kill them. I think you can, but I've never bothered to. It's easier to just evade their missiles. So we'll start with our little Corvette here, just for the sake of evasion, and we'll lick some missiles off. The Navarin has flares, and these dinky little cannons, the 57 millimeters. Ooh! And we are going to get hit by that MLRS, like I mentioned. Those are pretty easy to dodge. I definitely was a boneheaded move from me. So when it comes to missiles, it's best to kind of let them get close and then kind of like try to duck under them like that. Flares can help. They can make it a little more forgiving to duck under them. But yeah, so you're gonna see a lot of this missile evasion here. You see that bar that's over the Navarin? That's how much, that's like how hot my engines have gotten. So we are gonna just retreat the Navarin just because we want to end this here. And the Nomad just has so many zeniths, like yeah, these guys are pretty outclassed against a Nomad. They don't have a lot of options for dealing with it. We are going to see some armor-piercing rounds from this Scarab here. But it's not going to be enough. Ooh, alright. Split the difference there a little bit. So our defensive guns can shoot down incoming cannon rounds. But our cannons are just so overwhelming that we can shoot right through armor. And yeah, heavy cruisers versus smaller ships doesn't end well for the smaller ships for the most part. So we'll exit the ship, we'll go into we'll land the Navarin because the game asks us to. And then we should end the prologue and kind of get the cutscene that starts the campaign. And just to be fancy, and because we have all of our engines, we're going to go down into this kind of harder to access air dock. I have mixed feelings on the landing mechanic in this game. I think it's cool, I think it's fun. I do think sometimes if you have a bunch of task groups and you're doing a bunch of repairs, it can get a little tedious, but on the balance, this is one of my favorite games. I'm so happy to be streaming it. So we arrive in the crowds come out to greet us in our really sick, dripped out World War I armored car. Admiral Dowd is loving this. Do they actually welcome us, or is it just something that generally pays to be polite to the men with guns that control your home? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in the course of the campaign. Thanks, Fazil. I do my best. And thank you, General. You should report to the Admiral. Let him know that we've taken Ur. Oh, I guess maybe that's me. Maybe that's supposed to be me and not Dowd, because Dowd isn't actually with our group here. So that must be the player character here. So communication from our boss, Admiral Dowd, from his boss, Admiral Skobelev, that the bulk of the fleet has been ordered to return to our departure point with no explanation given. Several days have passed. We've gotten no communication from Skobelev or his task force, and all of a sudden, a super heavy vessel is appearing from the south. And it's not Skobelev's ships, it's the Sevastopol, one of the flag cruisers from the Emperor's personal squadron, not a ship that was with Skobelev's group. We're very confused as to why it's here, but we're going to go out and see. Please elucidate, General, because Khiva is the capital city of the Kingdom of Jurat. So Dowd is actually fine with this plan of let's rush north, let's take the capital of the Kingdom of Jurat while the enemy's forces are largely engaged in our homeland to the south, rather than heading south to fight against a superior force. But Dowd wants to at least kind of check back with High Command to get orders here. And Pyotr Shahin is like, "Fuck that, man. We are heading to Khiva. We are heading to Khiva right now, or we are going to run out of time." So we'll talk a little bit more in the campaign about the lore, why we actually care about Khiva, the fact that we're not actually on Earth here, and some of the things that means. This game has really great lore, though you do have to fill in some of the gaps from context or maybe from your own headcanon, because it's there's a few places where maybe they didn't have time to translate everything, or yeah, we'll get there. So we send the Nomad south to try to reestablish communications with the Empire, and the rest of the squadron, which is going to be Dowd's ships plus ours, are going to get ready to attack Khiva. We're going to take the Sevastopol because the Sevastopol kicks ass, and here General Shahin is going to put us in charge because hey, the Emperor and all the other heirs might be dead, so for all we know, I'm the Emperor. Dowd, of course, doesn't like this. He is a big believer in meritocracy, big believer in, you know, Nepo babies not being in charge of fleets and in charge of academy, experienced academy officers like himself. But the crew sure seems to like it, so we are going to take command of this campaign and go try to bring an end to the war by taking something from the enemy that they will have to negotiate for. So, this has been kind of my first test episode of this this new streaming setup and of Highfleet here. So, we'll probably cut it here, and in the next episode, we'll select the fleet and begin the actual game, where we're going to head north and embark on an astonishingly difficult military strategy game, which I hope you'll join me for. So thanks for watching. If this was helpful to you, if you're just looking to get into the campaign, that'll happen in the next episode.